This is Jayson Wells, Director with PGC Basketball, and today we're going to talk about a few things to help you rebound like a pro. Rebounding is the one thing that you can never do too much of. No coach is going to ever tell you, hey Jayson, stop rebounding so much. So making sure that you have that mentality of crashing every single time is going to automatically separate you from your teammates and for sure to your opponents. 3 things I want you to focus on. Number 1, rebounding is 90% will, 10% skill. 90% will, 10% skill. The best rebounders in the history of the game weren't the most athletic, weren't the highest jumpers. They were the ones that flat out wanted the basketball. Automatically off rip, Dennis Rodman comes to mind. He wasn't very tall, he wasn't very athletic, he just wanted the rebound. Number 2, you have to have a mentality that I'm going to go 20 times to the rim and I may get 0 rebounds for my effort. 20 times to the rim and I may get 0 rebounds for my effort. But that mentality is what I like to call relentless and resilient. You're going every single time, and that one time that your defender relaxes is the one time that you get a rebound to save the game for your team. I want to go against something that you've probably been taught since you started playing the game, the traditional butt box out. Shot goes up, you're stepping towards your defender, hands up, butt down, totally got your back to him or her, and you're going to pursue the basketball. Those days are just about over. Of course, there's going to be situations where that applies, but for the most part, athletes nowadays are too strong, too fast, and too athletic to just do a traditional butt box out. At PGC, what we like to do is we like to smop them, which means you want to stop their momentum and pursue the basketball. Very often, that stop of momentum may just be a forearm to the chest just to stop their forward momentum and then pursue the basketball. All right, again, we're talking about nowadays, guys are jumping over your backs and there's not time to be able to completely turn your back and do a butt box out. So as you check to make sure your offensive rebounder is coming in, you want to stop them with the forearm, stop their forward momentum, and then go pursue the basketball. That's what we call a smop. Another technique when you're talking about defensive rebounds is you just want to become a bulldozer, and that means exactly what it sounds like. But here's the tip to it. When I become a bulldozer, I want to have a quiet upper body and a loud lower body. So I'm not pushing them out like a football player. I want to load my legs and use my lower body momentum to push that defender out. In this case, I'm not even necessarily worried about pursuing the basketball. My number 1 goal is making sure that my offensive guy does not get the rebound. Bulldozer, I want to have a quiet upper body and a loud lower body, keeping my offensive person away from the ball. Let's talk about offensive rebounding. The first thing that I like to talk about is knowing where the shot's going to come from and now attacking what I like to call the weak slice of the pie. 70% of shots that are taken from one side of the floor come off on the other side of the floor. So if the shot's being taken from the right wing, I want to position myself on the left side of the floor, making sure that I can kind of anticipate where that ball is going to come off. Here's the secret behind that. You got to see the basketball. If you don't see the basketball, you'll never know how to anticipate where exactly the ball's coming off. You can see where the shot's coming from, but you may not see, hey, maybe the shot's short, maybe it's long, and now you can use your vision of the ball to be able to anticipate also where that ball's coming off. Attack the weak slice of the pie. Another tip for offensive rebounds, you want to make everything a 50-50 ball. That's exactly what it sounds like. I have just as much of an opportunity to grab the rebound or get the ball as the defensive person. All right, so one thing that I really like to hammer home with this is I want to position myself to be hip to hip with that defensive person. If I can get myself hip to hip and someone can take a picture, they shouldn't be able to tell who's on offense or who's on defense. If you can get to that point, you've definitely made it a 50-50 ball, and I promise you, 50% of the time, you may get that ball. The third technique I want to talk about from offensive rebounding is what we call SOFO, which means spin off of the first object. Spin off of the first object. Of course, it's every defender's job. Shot goes up, they're supposed to box out. Your job as an offensive rebounder is to make sure that their box out does not stop your forward momentum. Spin, You can even bulldoze, you can do whatever you want to making sure that you're not dying on that first contact. I like to use a term that I like to call don't melt. When you get that first piece of contact, you can't melt like a soft piece of butter. You got to take the contact, go through it, and we're talking about spinning off that first object to make sure that you give yourself an opportunity to grab an offensive rebound. Think about the great rebounders in the history of the game, past or present. I think about guys like Dennis Rodman. Think about current guys, DeAndre Jordan, Andre Drummond. Those guys are what I would like to call vertical rebounders. They can jump really high, they can get off the floor and go grab a rebound above the rim. And then you have another set of guys like my main man Kevin Love, who's not a great vertical leaper, but he's a great horizontal rebounder, which means he creates space down low, contact, and then he secures rebounds by the space that he creates because of the contact that he creates. So you may not necessarily be a vertical rebounder, but you can definitely be a horizontal rebounder by creating contact and creating that space. And if you really want to take your game to the next level, click the link in the description below to find out where the closest session is to you.